Hey guys, it's Danny with Seek and Word, and I'm so excited about this mental health topic that we're going to talk about today, which is how to overcome our fears. So we're going to do some inner work, and I'm going to do my makeup at the same time. And really what you'll get from watching this video is getting to the root cause of the fears that you might have in life. Maybe you are aware that you have fears, maybe you think that you're pretty fearless in your life. Either way, I guarantee that these tips are going to help you because there are macro fears and then there are little micro fears that we have throughout the day that are running our lives in some shape or form. So I'm excited. I know I really struggle with fears that I have, just public speaking and reaching out to people and building up my business. And so this is something I've really been working on, and I'm excited to share these tips with you. Okay, I decided to move my mic because it was in the way and I felt like I was really loud. But please comment below if you would like better sound quality on my videos or if you feel like I'm too close to the screen. I really do appreciate the feedback. But further ado, let's get into talking about fear and anxiety, because anxiety is a form of fear. And it's really, really common for people to have anxiety and to have fear. So I really want to help you guys overcome this because I know it can just feel terrible. I mean, I know when I'm afraid, my body responds to the fear and the stress, and it has an impact on my body's health. So I'm sure it has an impact on other people's bodies, and so I just really want to give you the tools that have helped me, and hopefully that they will help you too. Fear can be expressed as anxiety, and fear can also be expressed as anger. For example, let's say someone is homophobic and they're just terrified of gay people and them being gay, and then they just have anger towards other gay people. That's just one example. So fear is this emotion that can be expressed in all of these different ways. And the number one thing that is crucial when it comes to fear and you want to overcome it is to not avoid it. You want to go into your fear and really sit with it and navigate it, but really look at what thoughts you are having that are leading to this fear. Because a lot of the times, our mind is constantly thinking. It's having excessive thoughts all the time, and it will most likely create scenarios in your mind that haven't even happened yet or might not even ever happen. So, what are your thoughts? Remember in the last video we talked about people pleasing, and we talked about how our thoughts lead to our feelings, which lead to our actions. So your thoughts are leading to your fear. So we really want to practice mindfulness of our thoughts and where they're coming from, and if they're true or if they're not true, and study them. So be careful and be mindful of your thoughts. Now, also be mindful of what you're feeling, because a lot of the times when we are fearful, our body will have a response to that. Maybe you will have the feeling in your stomach. Maybe you'll have shortness in your breath. Maybe you'll start shaking. I know when I get really anxious, when I'm in big crowds, I have shortness of breath. When I start to feel anxious, for example, the other day I was in the grocery store and for some reason I just started feeling really anxious when I was waiting in line to check out. And so I really started to tackle those thoughts and question them. Why am I being anxious right now? And then I also kind of tried to direct my attention away from my thoughts. And one really easy way that you can do that is just by taking a breath. Because when you are focused on your breath, then there's no way you can think at the same time. Try it right now. Just try focusing on your breath and see if you have any thoughts while you are completely focused on your breath. So I was able to kind of challenge my fear, and I was able to calm my nerves down and feel okay after that. But I don't know if you can notice this, but like when you're fearful, you are suffering. In that moment, I was suffering. And so that is why we want to tackle and overcome our fears, because ultimately, if we are fearful, we are going to suffer. The reason why this is so challenging and why I would say most people don't conquer their fears is because when we try to be mindful of our thoughts, come into the present moment, our mind, our ego will try to bring us back into that fear. It'll say, no, but you really do need to be worried about this, or you really do need to fear that. And it is a challenge to reprogram your mind to not go back into your fear survival mechanisms. It is a challenge, and it'll probably take you 3 to 5 years of basic self-help work and meditation, which you can see why most people don't overcome their fears, because no one wants to put in the work to be mindful or put in the work to meditate. But that is what is really going to help you, and it does take years to develop this. So please work on developing your mindfulness, work on self-help. You really do have to do these practices to make this a reality for you, to make having no fear a reality. Maybe you do want to meditate and practice mindfulness so much, but maybe you just don't have the time. Well, if that is the case for you, then create the freaking time, because this is life-changing stuff. You need to invest this time in yourself. I feel like scientists and philosophers and psychologists don't have a true understanding of what fear is, which sounds crazy, but when you really think about it, when do we talk about fear? How can we quantify an emotion? How can we look at emotions scientifically, and how can we navigate them if they're not tangible? And so I think that there is still so much to learn about fear in the science realm, in the psychology, in the philosophy realm. And all of the people that are in these fields should really take learning more about fear more seriously. I bet no one in your entire life and all your schooling in high school and college has told you what fear is, how it works, and how to cope with it. And yet, you've been going through your entire life dealing with fear and coping with it. You might wonder, okay, well, they're scientists, they're psychologists, like, what do you mean? They understand the deepest things. They understand quantum physics. How can they not understand what fear is? How come we're not teaching what fear is? And the reason, most likely, that we are not taught this is because people do not understand it. Our society is so materialistic. We don't put any importance on teaching fear. How do you measure fear? What are the units of fear? This is the problem with science. It attempts to quantify everything, and emotions cannot be quantified. Firstly, I really want you to admit to yourself that fear is dominating your life. And you might not think that it is, but this is out of your awareness. We are survival biological beings. We are programmed for survival. So a lot of our emotions, like fear, that help and save our ass and help us to survive, we're not consciously aware of it all the time. So I guarantee you that fear is dominating your life, and step one is to admit that. First thing to overcome something, you have to understand what it is. Okay, what is fear? Pick a fear, any fear, and just feel it. So I'm afraid of not reaching my full potential. So I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to feel into it. I'm not going to try to suppress any of my feelings. I'm not going to try to resist any of them. And I'll just sit there and see where I feel it in my body, what kind of reactions, and kind of just go with it instead of against it. So that is one way to understand what your fear is. Then you want to ask, okay, why am I feeling this fear? And then how can I shift my focus off this fear? Fear is really there to help you maintain whatever you identify with. So it's a self-control mechanism that helps you maintain your identity and your self-image. That's what your identity is. It's your self-image. For example, maybe you identify with being a Christian, or if someone who identifies as being a Christian, they might be scared of atheistic ideas. When you have the identity of being a Christian, it affects your entire life. Not only are you afraid of basic things like fire or a bear coming at you, but you'll be afraid of anything that may threaten your Christian identity. Being a mother comes with a certain set of fears. Being a business owner comes with a certain set of fears. Being an athlete comes with a certain set of fears. So there are all these different domains in life that each come with their own fears. And another really important thing to remember is that fear is relative. So what someone else might be afraid of, I might not be afraid of at all. Even though it might not feel like true or real to you, it's real for them or it's real for you. And other people just might not get it because they don't have the same fears. Also, whatever you fear, you'll most likely be battling with it your entire life. This is why we have to go so deep into this topic. I mean, society really is built upon using your fears against you. I mean, let's say you're afraid of wrinkles under your eye. Well, sales tactic, are you afraid of getting wrinkles under your eye? Here, buy our cream. Like, society really does use our fears against us, and it's a survival thing. Society is not concerned with the truth. It's really fear driven. And so we are trying to move past this survival mechanism and really get into living and thriving and not being afraid of everything. Okay, sorry if this is feeling like abstract and confusing. Well, Danny, how do I actually get over my fears? Like, I just want to overcome my fears, Danny. Gosh, get to it. Okay, so you want to overcome your fears, then you have to develop mindfulness. That is the number one thing. Do not resist your fears. Feel your fears and start to question, where is it coming from? Where is this fear located in my body right now? What function is this fear serving? Because every fear usually is trying to serve some sort of function. And this is really, really hard to do, to develop mindfulness. So please stick with it. You usually, won't feel a fear until you're actually in that situation. So of course you're not going to be like in confrontation with a bear or something and then stop and think, oh, where's this fear coming from? No, not that. But like, let's say maybe you're afraid of disappointing someone at work. And then it's like right there in the moment where you have to disappoint them and you just can't bring yourself to do it. That's right then and there when you really need to start developing that mindfulness, but you're already kind of in it, so it's really hard to do. And every cell in your body is most likely going to want you to react to it rather than challenge or question it. You want to live a life beyond fear. You're really going to have to change how you react to your fears. So what fear really is you're resisting a future experience. You don't want to experience that, you're scared of experiencing it, and you're resisting it. And so that is where the fear is coming from. And this resistance to what is is really what is causing you all of your problems in life. You really have to learn to stop resisting what is coming at your way, what emotions that you're feeling. You really need to start feeling them. Right now, I want you to take a second, pause the video, and write down all of the fears that you may have in life. Go ahead and do that now. Hopefully, you've written down some of your fears, and hopefully, you have thought really deeply about it. And right now, I'm just going to say that most of the fears that you wrote down probably are macro fears. Maybe like I'm afraid of spiders, or I'm afraid of heights, or I get claustrophobic. And when I say think deeply about it, I mean like, let's say you're afraid of disappointing your mom, or you're afraid of saying no, or you're afraid of yourself. Like, that's thinking very deep about it and getting into the little tiny micro fears that really do drive a lot of your life. There really are hundreds of micro fears that are driving your life, whether it's you're afraid of not being good enough, afraid of failing at your career, afraid of failing at your business. There are all of these micro fears, and like I stated before, a fear of facing yourself, which I get this. I don't know if everyone gets this, but we do have this innate fear of ourselves and our greatness because we are infinite. We can literally do anything, and that can feel really scary. Many people are afraid to face themselves, and that's how people can get into drugs and addiction and things of that nature. So it is the micro fears in life that you really need to be worried about. I want to emphasize that when I say, try to overcome your fears, or maybe you take that as being fearless, that doesn't mean to be reckless or, dangerous. Like, if you're confronted with a bear, yes, run away from that bear. I'm really more talking about the micro fears here, the things that we don't always think about that really are prominent in our everyday lives. One last time, I want to reiterate that most of the time we don't want to feel our fear. We don't like to feel our anxiety. We don't like to feel our fears, but it's counterintuitive. Life is very counterintuitive. Sometimes we really have to do the opposite of what we think that we should be doing. And we think, okay, if I suppress the fear, if I don't feel it, like, it'll go away eventually. I'm telling you right now, it's not going to go away if you do that. You have to do the counterintuitive move and face your fear head on and be bold about it. Really, to overcome your fears, you really have to accept yourself and fully love yourself. So not only do you have to face your fears and face yourself, you also have to learn how to love those fears and love yourself. Life is here, life is now, and we're always going to be on this roller coaster of emotions. I know I definitely am, and so I constantly have to remind myself to enjoy feeling sad or enjoy feeling fearful. Don't be afraid of feeling your fear. And self-love is a topic that I think is critical. I think I mentioned this in the people-pleasing episode as well, but that's really what I'm getting into here with Seek and Word. Please stick around with these videos because they are going to give you tons of really helpful steps and tools to overcome your fears, overcome people-pleasing, overcome a billion other mental health topics. And so you're really going to want to stick around because I know that if you stick with it and that if you keep practicing mindfulness and keep on facing your fears and doing all these things, it's going to change your life and you're just going to feel just more fulfilled, more satisfied. I won't say necessarily happy, but you're still going to have your waves of emotions as a human being, but I guarantee you these videos are going to help you. So this is the finished look. Thank you so much for sticking around. I really do care about you guys facing your fears and reaching your full potential. And I know that you're going to be bold. I know that you're going to start being more mindful about the fears that you're having in your everyday life. And please stick around for more future mental health and makeup Mondays. I'm going to keep this series going. I'm so excited. I hope you find it helpful. And thank you again for listening. Please comment if you found this video to be helpful. Please like this video and subscribe if you want more mental health and makeup videos. Thanks, guys. Have a great week. Bye.